Hello and welcome back to the J Venom YouTube channel. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the different kind of truck driver you could become.
So I done hooked to my next.
We're going to talk about reefers, tankers, dry vans, over-the-road drivers, local drivers, and mainly talk about why I chose the port life and why I think it's beneficial for what I wanted to do. So let's get into the video, say what's up to the food truck for today. Enjoying the view. Getting ready to go to work. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of my day. We're having short days today, so it should be fun. So see you guys.
Custom like my sister denim. Mama said to go get him. Used to be Mr. Nice Guy, now I turn into Venom. Walking down like he Bombay. Stop talking, you ain't gon' spray.
You know everybody been waiting on that.
Favorite part, these houses are huge. All right guys, so we arrived to the yard. So a few of the main ones are reefer, like this one right here. We got tankers over there. And we got flatbed over there. There's a guy that's not here right now. He does containers and, no, sorry, he does car hauling. So those are the main ones. Dry van as well. A lot of people do flatbed, dry van, tankers. What I am specifically, I'll throw some honorable mentions on top. Obviously, there's heavy haulers over the road. We'll get a little bit into those throughout the video. But what I am is a container hauler. As you guys can see, my truck a little dirty today. But I haul containers. So we're gonna get into the good and the bad about the containers. And then we're gonna talk about the other kinds of truck driving. So you guys can make a choice and see what fits your schedule or your goals for the future. So let's get to work. Always got that full tank. Build up the air and let's get out of here. There we have a bottom dump driver. He's a subscriber, so shout out to him. Ooh, sick ass truck. All right guys, so we arrived here where all the ports are at. Now, like I said, we're gonna get into detail on the rest of the trucking industries you can get into later. Not industries, kinds of trucking you get into later. Right now, I'm gonna show you guys the port work. But remember, the main ones being reefer loads, dry van loads, flatbed, tanker, heavy haulers, and container work, which is what I do. There's bottom dumps, there's dump trucks, constructions, water tankers, fuel tankers. There's many different types, so it's important that you guys know about the industry, because as you guys would see why I specifically chose the ports. So we just arrived here at the location. I do containers personally, so now we're gonna get into showing you guys a little bit about what my delivery process looks like and how fast it can be sometimes. So the cool thing about the ports is there's cameras. I don't know if you can see that right there. That shows us the lines, right? There's cameras that shows us the lines. There's two entries. I always go through always the shortest line. Luckily today is pretty empty. So we should be in and out in about 30 minutes right before lunch. It's 11 a.m. Lunch is 12 to 1, so we need to be in and out before an hour, which most likely will happen. So when I was looking for something for me to focus my owner-operator career in, was something that was Monday through Friday, something that was paid consistently, because in a lot of trucking jobs the pay is inconsistent. Some people take 2 to 3 weeks to get paid. That's why factoring is so big. And factoring is like when someone forwards you their money, they keep a certain percentage of the pay. Right here is direct deposit every week, so that's exactly what I wanted. I specifically wanted something Monday through Friday that was local, because my goal is to just get 2 trucks with 2 drivers, because with that formula, you're able to replace my owner-operator income. So my owner-operator income can range anywhere from like $220 to $260 on the Monday through Friday schedule. Some people in trucking can make up to $340,000 by themselves. So my goal specifically was to get 2 trucks to replace my income, which being anywhere from $230 to $250. And after your expenses, you could profit anywhere from $140 on the low side all the way up to $170 if your truck is paid off or insurance is cheap, you know, etc. So with that saying, $170, $150, I mean 140, 150. If you cut that in half, the driver's making anywhere from 65 grand to 70 grand. So 70 grand for you, 70 grand for the driver. 2 of those replaces 1 owner-op income, right? So that's kind of the goal. Monday through Friday, it's easier to retain drivers. You know, every driver wants like their dream job, not to work on the weekends. Let me check in here real quick. And obviously, since it's local, every load I pick up is consistent within the 200-mile range round trip. So if I do 2 loads, it's 400 miles round trip. So that's a driver's dream, guys. All right, we're checking in right here. Check it out. Gate opens up. We grab our card, and we're out of here. All right, so like I said, we're gonna get into the good details about the port life. So the goal is, like I said, to keep a driver happy, you know, Monday through Friday, something consistent. You know where to fuel. It's easier to predict expenses. Me as owner of the trucks, if something happens to the truck, it's within my range of where I live. I could easily go out there, check the truck, take a tire, whatever I need to do. It's within my vicinity, right? So that's why it's very convenient. This is exactly what I was looking for, and this is exactly what I got. That's why I'm telling you guys, it's important to know what you want to get into. I'm gonna keep repeating it, because if you look into it, if you want it, you'll see it all over the road. People drive different kinds of freight all the time. So you'll see someone maybe in your yard, which I'll show you guys when you get home, or like when in the beginning of the video, some guys do car hauling. Some guys are doing car hauling and they're gone 3 to 4 days at a time. Reefer gone 2 to 3 days at a time. So you have to pay attention to that and see, what kind of driver do I want to talk to? Because I like his schedule. He's gone 3 to 4 days, but the truck is parked like for a week, so he must be making good money, because he only works 3 to 4 days and the rest is for like 5 days. So it's important to know that. We just got here, as I told you guys, it is empty as heck. So all right, check it out. I checked in already. That was my location. Checking for my empty. So if you're new, you get lost pretty easy. Yes, hello. I got my loading location already. I just need to empty out.
Okay, got you for an empty out. And on chassis, right?
Yes, on chassis.
Alright, it's coming to you right now.
Thank you.
Okay, what are you picking up?
It's a 40 high cube CMA.
40 high cube. Okay, I got you.
Thank
it's
you.
coming to you right now. Thank you.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so the check-in process was probably less than a minute. Yep, less than a minute. So let's hit in. So the cool thing about working with a couple of my buddies here is we save time by letting each other know where the empty spot is at, because you usually have to get in the line to pick that up. So right now I got a message saying it goes to the H area, so you guys will see real quick. Okay, so now let me continue with the port work. So all those things that I mentioned, obviously they're great. The main thing I wanted was, I used to see a lot of people who own trucks, but at owning the trucks, they had to really focus on dispatching their drivers, right? So they would wake up, make sure the drivers have their loads for the next day. If there's any hiccups, they have to take care of them. And you know, sometimes that could be really stressful, because they could be doing a delivery early in the morning and they'll wake you up almost at any time of the day. So when I seen that, I didn't like it. I was like, that doesn't look kind of convincing, right? So when I was looking for a port job, I was looking for someone that dispatches, right? That takes care of like all the ins and outs. If there's a problem at the port, someone that can take care of it. And that's exactly what I found. Like I said, it's important to know what you're looking for. It's like a plug and play, right? Whenever it gets busy and there's openings, I'm able to add a truck. All I have to do is make sure the driver gets paid, make sure my truck is in good condition, and the person I'm working with takes care of all the dispatching. They text them every morning talking about where you're gonna pick up, where you're gonna load, how many loads are you gonna do, and my job is just to sit back and enjoy it. To be honest, one of the guys I help with, which is my brother's friend, he's still in college and he has 2 trucks. So we can have him on the channel later, which I am gonna have him on the channel later, so they could explain to us, you know, what the process is like for them being owner of the 2 trucks. Meanwhile, I'm still here. Nah, it's kidding. I need to sell that food truck. Nah, we'll see. But yeah, another example of something like this would be the dump truck business, because dump truck business, you usually get paid hourly, so it simplifies your job to pay the driver. They usually get paid anywhere from $100 to $120 an hour on the high side. So when you hire a driver, depending on his experience, you could offer him 25 starting, 30 bucks an hour if they have experience, up to 35, right? And the math is pretty easy. Every hour they work, you make 100, they make 35. And it's construction hours. They start at 6 in the morning, earlier or later, and they usually are done by 3 p.m. Oh, checking in right here, guys. So now there seems to be a benefit on that, right? Because you're only working certain hours and you still make good money. Now the downside of that is you always get traffic. In my position, I choose to drive whenever I kind of want to within the schedules of the port opening. So I choose a time when there's no traffic. So like I said, those are kind of the good things about the port. You can identify these traits in any other kind of business that you're interested in. For the fuel business and tankers, some people work very long hours when they're hauling milk, right? So that's considered tankers. So that's a very different schedule as someone who's in the fuel business doing tankers. So it's not really just about what you want to be hauling, is what kind of job you want to do. Because people that do containers, some people do reefers in the container work and they go, you know, over the road, a couple of days out on the road. So like I said, important to identify where exactly you want to be. So those are the kind of the good things about the port life. It's you get paid every week. It's Monday through Friday. Easy to retain drivers, easy to dispatch drivers. You can pretty much sit at home, chill. It's really a plug and play method, which is the dream for a lot of people. So it's honestly beautiful. Now talking about the downsides, right? So we're gonna get unloaded here real quick. There goes a forklift. So easy job. It's pretty much a flatbed, right? They hook onto it, take it off. Now the downside of some of this is that when we're in the port, a lot of these workers are union workers, so sometimes they don't really work as fast as you would want them to be, which is fine, right? But we're talking about extremes here at times, right? Like, yeah, we understand some people, you know, like to work a little slow. I've been there before. Not a big problem. Oh, there it is. Nice and easy. It's off, and on we go. Look how quick that was. So we're gonna go grab an empty. But like I was saying, we all understand like a simple kind of, if you have a job, sometimes you do a little bit slower, you know, not everyone wants to be rushed. But sometimes in the ports, it goes a little extreme to the point where some guys, you know, they're literally sleeping at night instead of doing their job. So it is what it is. I mean, we submit complaints whenever we can, but the thing is, they're union, so it's kind of like part of the job, right? You just have to deal with it. And sometimes we're working really slow and lunch gets delayed by 2 to 3 hours. So you could say, you know, you lose time, but then there's days like this where I already got my load off. And if you guys know reefer loads and dry van loads, that's a lot of time wasted because they have a bunch of trucks waiting to get unloaded and you have to wait your turn. So there's, you know, good and bad in everything. You just have to choose what kind of trouble you want to be into. The longest, what kind of headaches you want to deal with. The longest I've been here was 5 hours when they had a strike. On average, if I take long, it'd be like 2 or 3 hours. You know, and at least I could visually see how the line is progressing and when I'm going to be helped. When I was doing dry van, I had no idea. You know, like, oh yeah, you're up next after 2 or 3 trucks, and I have no idea if they're having lunch inside, break time, how many workers are there. So it's more predictable here. So for me, it's an easier headache to deal with. And the fastest I've been in and out was 15 minutes. Right now we got here at 11, it's 11:07, so we're 7 minutes in and we got the load off. So, you know, that's the good thing about it. And I'm sure in the comments there's also bad. So we're gonna pick up our empty, see how long that takes, and get on with the rest of the video. All right, so we're navigating the port. Like I said, we got the inside info from our coworkers and we didn't have to line up for the location. So we know the empty location is somewhere in the 400, H400, so let's check that out. and it gets packed here. So when you're new, it sucks because all these guys know what they're doing, and if you hesitate at all to do any movement, they're like, man, what this guy doing, bro? So look, that's kind of the process. He takes off that empty, I'll pull up and get the container. So our line's over here with these guys, the purple truck. Let's get on over here, right? Okay, so now let's move on, like I said, to the bad thing. Okay, so now let's move on to the rest of the bad things about the port life. A lot of people cut here, a lot of people cut you off, they run stop signs, and there's a lot of anger going on inside the port. So a lot of people tend to kind of argue, sometimes want to fight. That's why they have a rule: if you fight, you're kind of banned for lifetime, so you have to pay attention. Sometimes there's some dumb penalties when some trucks, you know, say you ran a stop sign, but they literally didn't see you and you stopped and rolled it nice and slow, nice and safe, and they could ban you up to 33 weeks. So sometimes things are out of your control, and that sucks, right? So I mean, that's what I could say. And then a lot of the international news controls how busy your job is going to be, unless you have a really good dispatcher. We export some not produce, I'm pretty not sure what we export. We export waste, I think. That's what we do. So, you know, different news affect us in a different way. So, I mean, that's what I could say about the bad things about the port, you know. And in my case, the good outweighs the bad. And the consistency of the work throughout the year, that I mentioned, it's all year long that there's work. So, you know, that's like the big... that's the big decider for me, you know, what I make the choice to stay here or not. And the consistency throughout the year, yeah, there hasn't been, I think, 1 week off all week last year where we couldn't work because of the holidays. Any other week like that we chose to work, we could have worked. So pretty crazy. Now we're gonna move on to the other kind of so now we're gonna move on to the other ways I did trucking. So I did ag season. If you guys remember the tomato hauling, which I might try out this on the weekends just for some fun, for some content, a little throwback to how I used to do that stuff. Let me know if you guys want to see that. So when I did that was a great start because it is seasonal. So you can work 7 days a week. You're busy throughout the day. There's work all the time because, like I said, they crunch all year's work into a 3-month period. So they need a lot of help. Work is busy. And since you work a lot, the pay is a little more consistent. So they go like 2 or 3 weeks without paying you. But then after that, the pay gets a little more consistent considering the fact that you're working so much. So that kind of helps, you know, when you get started. Now, I like that because, like I said, a great way to start considering there's a lot of work. Now, I wouldn't have that as your main kind of hustle just because every year is different in ag season because it depends how much it rains. It depends how good the produce is. All that, there's a lot of factors that, so every year is not going to be the same. Pretty much what I'm trying to say. But it's a great way to start. Once you do that, like me, you look for something that it really fits your needs, right? Other than that, I did dump truck business, which we worked around construction hours, which right there, I'll be popping up pictures on the screen so you guys can get an idea of it. We do dump trucks, we haul asphalt when they're building roads, for schools, pavement, everything. We do grindings when they're tearing down buildings, when they need dirt moved, all that good stuff. So we pretty much work construction hours, and there's a benefit to that because it's pretty cool to work 8-9 hours and go home as a truck driver. That's pretty rare. And you could also do that with a tractor, you know, like I said, the pictures on the screen. You have different trailers. Anything interesting that I see on the road, I'll be popping it up on the screen too. Different kinds of freight people do. So I really like that. Actually, I wanted to get into that business, but the dump trucks are pretty expensive, really expensive. So you have to have some good money to get into that, and it's harder to get connections, I found personally. I mean, now that I'm in there like 2 years, I could easily find someone to get me connected, but at the time it is hard to get started with your new. Other than that, I did flatbed, which shout out to the flatbed guys because it is a little bit more difficult for me to do flatbed because you just don't get used to it. You know, you're in your truck. You guys seen they took off my load, putting an empty on, and then boom, I go get loaded. With flatbed, it's a lot of responsibility. That's why at times the pay could be better. And it's your responsibility to tie up the load, and all the way you're delivering it, you're just checking your mirrors, making sure nothing's gonna fall off. So there's a lot of like pressure and anxiety when I did it. Pretty sure the people that are veterans already think, you know, it's nice and easy. For me, there was a lot of pressure and anxiety just because you never know if you did something right, because I was new. So I didn't like that much. Some people enjoy it. After that, I switched over to dry van, which the dry van business is the most common one where people do over the road. I'm getting a call real quick. People tend to do that one over the road. Let's see. So when I did that, the dispatcher I was working with, I didn't quite like it because it was very unpredictable. So it was the kind of way I was doing it. I was delivering in LA, then the next day I would pick up a load all the way in San Jose. He would try to get me connected loads to get paid. So the hours were crazy. I never even knew where I was gonna be the next day. So how can I calculate my sleep? I could be taking a nap the next morning. Oh, I'm going all the way to LA, or I'm just going right here to, you know, nearby Sacramento. So it was really hard to predict the schedule. I didn't like that. The money was decent because they keep you moving, right? So I could get a load from here to LA, and then LA back, or here to LA to Bakersfield, Bakersfield to San Jose. So the money is a little bit better like that, but like I said, there's a price you pay. So it's important to know what you want to get into. You want to make some money, do over the road, get connected as much as you can, and a price you pay is you don't really have a schedule or a life. Nah, just kidding. You could take some time off after, you know. I prefer this. After I did that, I came straight to the port, and I've liked it ever since. I have friends that do all kinds of trucking. So if there's anything that you guys are interested in, let me know. I could pretty much get anyone to show us a little insight in their job. Bottom dumps, we got flatbeds, we got some heavy haulers that haul farm equipment. I know people in tankers, people that haul milk, which I heard is really tough job. So all right, they're getting the empty. Nice and easy. Watch. Boom. You guys can see it in the background. Boom, all four corners are good. We're good to go. So check it out. 11:19. And we're out of here. Now don't go out there calling me a liar in the comments, because I'm in and out in 19 minutes. That was just a good day. Sorry to all the people in LA. All right, let's get out of here, guys. All right, the checkout process is less than like 2 minutes as well, so pretty easy. I'll go this way because I like the view better. But in and out on the port, less than 20 minutes. If I go to the first location to load for tomorrow, what I like doing is not preloading and going straight home. So I could be home by 12:30, an hour and a half. No, an hour and a half. I could be home by 1. So pretty cool. Nice quick day. And you guys know, we'll talk about how much money I made today, profit, because you guys love the money talk and I love it too. So you guys seen it in and out in less than 20 minutes. I'm not lying. We're out of here already. So we're gonna go see if we load. If we load, we'll talk to a few of my coworkers there. They can tell you guys a little bit about what we do. Other than that, stay tuned for the end of the video. Other than that, stay tuned for the end of the video where we talk about how much money we made today and the plans that I have going forward in the trucking industry, because I'm done being a owner-operator. Time for a change. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys, we just pulled up here to load. Let's see how many trucks are in front of us. Each truck is about 20 minutes, so that's why sometimes we like racing each other. So we pulled up. We got one truck behind me. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 trucks in front of me. What's the math on that? Nah, okay. So 20 minutes each truck. It's about an hour, and then we're gonna be waiting. A little bit over an hour. These are the homies right here, so. We got him, my cousin, and my brother. So they beat me this morning. But yeah. Who's camera shy? Nah, just kidding. This is my weak ass brother with his blue truck. This is my brother with his blue truck. So you got the Pete and the college kids Volvo. So hey guys, we got the college kid with his truck right here. The driver, and then my cousin. Yeah, with the sickest truck. Loading. All right, check it. Nice and easy, back up. Took me a minute to get used to backing up to this small area, but you get used to it. Flatbed stuff. So we're loading. When we load up and we're all here, we just hang out for a bit, chilling. Nice and quick, and then we head back out to make some more money.
Damn, I could have been hit.
Bro, that was probably like, what, 12 minutes? Pretty quick, so another benefit, get loaded hella fast. All right, guys, we're loaded up. Nice and quick. All right, guys, so we're loaded up. That was nice and quick. Let's get out of here. Stupid ass seatbelt, bro. Yeah, so we had to wait about an hour there, about an hour and a half, while everything was said and done. So basically, we're gonna talk about the profit real quick, and we're gonna end today's video with what I want to do moving forward in the trucking industry, which I like to call it transportation industry now, not so much focusing on the trucks. So for today, we loaded in location 2. So we're out working right here in the ports. We have 3 locations where we load at, and we load a bunch of materials like these you can see right here. It changes from time to time. So today was location 2. I usually would wake up around 5 a.m. and get to the port at 7 a.m., drop it off, come back home and get home at 11. So 5 to 11, that's about 6 hours. When we load in location 2, since they changed the material so much, I have to preload. So I have to load up and go home. That way I'm ready, loaded in the morning. So it's a little bit different. Sometimes I do a little more hours. Like today we were in about 8 hours. So 3 hours more, but it is what it is. So on a day like today, we waste $200 in diesel, which last time I did the math on that, it was a little more expensive. So it could be anywhere like 180 range. But we waste around $200 in diesel. The load pays $700. So we take home $500. Now, when we talk about money in trucking, a lot of people like to bring up the expenses right away. So it's really easy. It's really easy to calculate expenses. That's a big benefit of getting paid weekly, right? So I divided my monthly expenses into 4, which is weekly. So if I waste $200 for each load I make, each load pays the same. So I have an idea about how much I'll profit. So this $700 load is gonna cost me, $200 in diesel, which means I profited $500. Now, my expenses are really low. My truck payment is $1,100 a month, and I finally got my insurance to $1,000 a month as well. So it rounds up to about $250 and $250, right around $500 a week. So on Monday, when I deliver my first load, I do the $200 for diesel and then the $500 profit. Boom, that clears out my expenses for the month, for the week. And that's how we go week to week. So on Monday, my expenses are cleared. So let's say we do one load Tuesday, one load Wednesday, one load Thursday, and one load Friday. That's 4 loads at 500 profit each. I take home $2,000 in a week profit, and I essentially work from 7 to 8 hours on the long days. Now, the sad thing about this is last year our income was double. So can you guys imagine that? Last year we were doing 2 loads every day, Monday through Thursday, and on homes we went early. So it was beautiful. Fridays you're home at 11. Monday through Thursday you do 2 loads. So we're profiting $1,000 a day. So our checks would come out to like 6, 7K, 8K on the high side, which I'm going to talk more about that when I do the video rounding up my year as a truck driver of 2022, which we made some pretty good money. So, you know, that's how trucking can affect us sometimes. Like, I was profiting like $4,500 a week take home, you know? Those are some great numbers. That's close to 18,000, is it? Let's see. 45 and 45 is 9 grand. 9 grand to 9 grand is 18. Yeah. That's crazy. $18,000 a month when everything was nice and consistent. Then on the low months, on the low weeks, we did like 5K, 6K. So we profited like 38 or 4K. But big difference from this year. So just for you guys to get an idea, the money is really good in the ports. You have to find a good partner to work with. You get your job done. They help with the dispatch and are quick. So that's how much we made today. $500 profit. To be honest, it's enough to just be cool, pay the bills. Nothing crazy right now. Last year was cool. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's going here. So make sure you study what you want to get into. Talk to some friends, DM people on Instagram. You know, really research what you want to do, because if you can find and focus on it, you'll get it. I got exactly what I wanted. If you guys want to be bull haulers, if you guys want the classic Peterbilt with the long nose hood, a Kenworth, you guys have to focus on that, see what they do, flatbed, reefers, and you know, start looking into it, and you eventually will get that job. So that's why it's important for you guys to know what kind of truck driver you want to be. Now with that being said, to end the video, going forward, I want to focus more on the transportation and logistics side of this business, not so much of being an owner operator and driving a truck. You know, I think I know if you could focus more on solving transportation issues or logistic issues for another companies, the trucking comes like as an extra, you know? If I could tell, for example, Tesla or another big company, which is close to the Bay Area where I'm at, hey, I can store some car parts for you in a warehouse that I could lease out, and then I could ship them to Texas or LA, wherever you need this shipped out to. Then I'm solving a logistic issue for them, right? And you know, just by nature, the truck driving comes, which I figure if you do something like that, it's much more of a W, much more profit, much more beneficial for anyone who wants to do trucking, because trucking comes as second nature to solving a transportation issue. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on, finding ways to kind of get into the business of transportation, not necessarily a broker, but like, you know, solving solutions for bigger companies. So that's what we have looking forward in this channel regarding trucking wise. Other than that, guys, let me know what you guys other than that. So yeah, other than that, let me know what you guys want to see. You guys know we got the day in life coming soon. And don't forget, if you guys are interested in flatbed, bottom dumps, anything, I know everybody in Northern California, so we could tag along with them, see how much they're making right now in this crisis. Now, I'm kidding, it's picking up soon, so keep the hopes up. So see you guys on the next video. Peace.